This is the Scalar Health Podcast with Tom Paladino, scalar energy researcher, developer, and humanitarian. With each episode of this podcast, you will learn to address your health concerns from a whole new dimension. The human biofield is the next frontier in health enhancement, and we appreciate the opportunity to shed some light on this new and emerging science. ScalarLight.com and this presentation are for informational purposes only. It is not our intention to prescribe or make specific health claims for any products. It is also not our intention to be a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professionals. All products, claims, and testimonials made about specific products or services have not been evaluated by the United States FDA and are not approved to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. All photographs are confidential and will not be shared with anyone.
And good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Whatever it is, wherever you are, we're happy to have you with us. I'm Alan.
And I'm Sandra.
And we are going to have a good time today. Do something different. Let's have a good time. What do you think?
We're so excited.
I know, right? I know. Our guest today, and we're very excited to have Tom Paladino on because he's a scalar energy researcher. He's got over 25 years plus experience helping people with pathogenic infection. And Tom's research and work with the scalar energy began during his undergrad years. He was inspired by a number of scientists, of course, the biggie being Nikola Tesla. So he's the man. He was the man. And as to the existence of an energy that isn't part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, with this inspiration, he pursued a course of independent study in order to better understand and subsequently harness scalar energy. And of course, scalar energy is also known as prana, chi, radiant energy, 0-point energy, ki, orgone. What is that one? I don't even know what that one. Eloptic? Okay. Eloptic. That's a new one on me, but anyway. And after years of experimentation and modification, Tom has developed a technique using scalar energy that'll transmute pathogens quickly and painlessly. Tom Paladino, welcome to the show, my friend.
Woohoo!
It's an honor. Thank you so much, both of you. Pleasure.
This is awesome.
This is amazing. I mean, we have not been this excited in a very, very long time.
Well, I got excited once I found that hippos don't actually eat marbles.
Really?
That was a big day for me. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Of course, Tom, it's very, very exciting to have you on. And this scalar energy, of course, it's nothing new, but I mean, to the general public, this is really groundbreaking, isn't it?
It is. It is. You mentioned Nikola Tesla. He was the first man to harness scalar energy, the first man to develop instruments that can control scalar energy. And he was so far ahead of his time, and we're catching up to the prowess, to the genius of Nikola Tesla. Nonetheless, I've always said this, and I'll hold to this statement. Scalar energy, scalar light will change the world. This new technology will have a greater impact upon mankind than that of the computer.
Yeah, and I totally believe that. And the computer is huge. And, it kind of makes me wonder, we stumbled onto the computer thing. We got that. Why hasn't this been brought out sooner? Wink, wink, nod, nod.
It's suppressed. Let's just tell it like it is. This technology could offer mankind such great benefit. It could help so many people around the world. It's a technology that will liberate mankind. Why is this being suppressed? Well, frankly, it's a threat to the powers that be.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Tom, let's kind of let the audience kind of get a feel for you a little bit, get to know you a little bit. Now, you got turned on to this during your undergrad work. Kind of explain, if you would please, sir, where you were at that time. And of course, you've always been a Tesla fan. I know that.
Yes,
but
yes.
I mean, how did this actually come about for you to go, you know what, I'm actually going to do something about this?
As a youngster, I always considered that there was another energy besides that of the electromagnetic spectrum. In other words, even as a young man, I knew that we could change the world with this other energy, with this other dimension. And when I started to read Tesla and I understood what Tesla was doing, I had an appreciation that Tesla especially in the latter part of his career, was not working with electricity. Now, if any of you have studied this man, Nikola Tesla, he really had two careers. His first career was with AC electricity. The reason we have electricity in our homes can be attributed principally to Tesla, not necessarily to Edison.
Right.
But what is poorly understood is the latter part of Tesla's life, he was not working with electricity. He found a superior energy. He called it radiant energy. Tesla realized that there was another energy that was far superior to that of electricity. And the latter part of Tesla's life was almost exclusively devoted to this scalar energy or radiant energy that he used the term to describe this phenomenon, this energy. Why would a man abandon a career of AC electricity and midstream in his career, he would embrace scalar energy? Well, that begs the question. Why? Because scalar energy is so far superior to that of AC electricity. And we'll explore that. We'll just touch upon in the next hour some of the benefits to be derived from scalar energy that you cannot readily achieve by way of the electromagnetic spectrum.
Yeah, I know one of the big things, a lot of people talk about this and, they kind of kick it around a little bit. And of course, as you said, he knew about this way back, in the early 1900s. I mean, he was performing experiments where he was utilizing this energy. And I mean, in Colorado Springs, that really, really came out big time, right?
Yes, correct. Well spoken. Tesla in 1899 moved to Colorado Springs, and he erected a tower. And that tower, amongst other things, could produce lightning bolts. Why? Well, he had finally found his way into what he called the wheelwork of the universe, and he had tapped this unlimited supply of energy. By the way, all lightning bolts initiate as scalar energy. So when Tesla was creating lightning bolts in Colorado Springs, those were scalar energy lightning bolts. Lightning never initiates as electricity, as electromagnetic energy. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is in 1899, Tesla built what I understand to be his first scalar energy tower. He laid the groundwork for scalar energy research in Colorado Springs, and we're just starting to catch up to Tesla's advances that he achieved over 100 years ago.
Wow.
That's really amazing. And of course, he got this thing going, and, we're not nearly as well versed, on Tesla as you are. But, some of the things that really caught our attention initially, God, how many years ago has that been? Like 4 or 5 years ago when we first really heard about it.
Yeah.
And realized it wasn't run by a guy named Elon Musk, was that, he could sit there and hold light bulbs or put them into the ground and make them illuminate. And that fascinated us. I'm like, how is he doing this?
And we're on Cheyenne Mountain right there in Colorado Springs.
At the time that we found out about him for the first time in our adult lives.
And we truly believe that area, is it possible, Tom, that area is still supercharged?
Scalar energy never leaves its mark. Some people call that the mind of God or the Akashic record. So whatever Tesla achieved in Colorado Springs will have an internal imprint.
Okay.
So we were really fascinated with the fact that we were on the mountain and we were picking up these amazing pictures.
Well, and where we were living at that time, too, and some of the pictures that we were taking, that whole mountain, it was, just filthy with quartz. It was all over the place.
Very, very illuminated.
It was like a superconductor up there.
Mm-hmm.
Sure it was. Sure.
So some amazing and miraculous things took place up on that mountain, and it made us research Nikola more. But what is fascinating is, guys, I kid you not, I told Tom when we met with him yesterday, I said, Tom, you got to show me. You got to show me how you light a fluorescent light up without having electricity.
And Tom's like, you got it, baby. And he went down to his lab and he just, boom. And it was like no big deal.
It was exciting. Thank you so much, Tom. You made my dream come true.
You're welcome. Let me set the groundwork for our listening audience. With my scalar light instruments, they fill the environment. This is the nature of scalar energy. It fills an environment. It's more or less like temperature. temperature is not linear, so to speak. It fills an environment. It's a scalar of a scalar consideration. Anyway, long story short, yesterday I took fluorescent tubes in my bare hands and I passed them by my scalar energy instrument. And those fluorescent tubes illuminated in my bare hands, proving what? That I had achieved a local scalar energy environment that could illuminate a light bulb.
And that was amazing. Now, Tesla, from what I understand, he could illuminate light bulbs from what, and I may be wrong here, so forgive me, I'm wanting to say 25 miles away.
That's what I hear. That's the way the story has it. I wouldn't doubt it. Sure.
Oh,
Wow, that's amazing. So if he could build towers large enough at that point in time, he could have provided basically, I mean, outside of, the folks erecting their own, I guess, receiving towers, he could have actually, in essence, provided free energy. And, that wasn't going to go over well.
Right. That was his goal. That was one of his goals in life. And with scalar energy, it's easy to do that. And why would I say that? Well, first of all, what is the power plant of scalar energy? If we look around the world, power plants are expensive. I don't care if it's geothermal or a nuclear power plant or a coal plant. Well, with scalar energy, it's free. Why? Because the power plant are the stars.
Yeah.
Where do we get scalar energy from? The stars. You'll never run out of stars. So what am I saying? Scalar energy is an infinite supply of energy.
Yeah, and it's all around us all the time. I was reading some of the information on the actual energy itself, and of course, I'm a layman, so I mean, and it was getting into neutrinos and all sorts of stuff like that, and I guess not things, but for a lack of a better word, things that could actually exceed the speed of light.
Yes, exactly. And I've experienced that in my laboratory. Frequently when I'm working with scalar energy within that dimension, a particle can easily exceed the speed of light. You have to consider with electromagnetic energy, there's what's known as a quadrature that confines light to a specific limit. There's a limit, a top velocity, if you will, in an electromagnetic spectrum. In a scalar spectrum, it's infinite. It's instantaneous communication, and we'll get into that. That's one of the benefits of a scalar energy force field. There's no weakening of signal. There's no diminution of signal, and the transmission of energy is instantaneous.
Wow, that is truly amazing. And of course, way back then, when Tesla had discovered this, and he started, and I mean, he was actually onto it. He was working it.
Right.
I mean, the whole country, by and large, had just barely gotten to the idea, in essence. I mean, a few years removed from alternating current as opposed to direct current.
Right.
And all the costs that would have been involved with direct current and how much more efficient alternating current was. I mean, that's like going from horse and buggy to a car to a spaceship. I mean, going from AC or DC to AC to scalar energy.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
It just blew people's minds, right?
Well, no wonder it scared them.
Yeah. They no wonder. And I can understand the mentality back then. You're used to what you're used to, and you only have a parameter of what you know and see. I can see where people thought, oh, yeah, this guy's out there.
He was out there. Yay.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God he was out there. I mean, that's the way of most people, though. Whenever something so revolutionary is introduced, though, right, Tom? I mean, it's just like, yeah, right, okay. You got a date at the mental hospital.
It's a shame because many of these great scientists, these great thinkers in their day were disparaged, only to be revisited years later and to be considered a genius or at least the leader in their field of thought. But that takes time, and eventually these ideas percolate and people will start to pay attention, especially with the results.
Right.
If you can demonstrate something, if you can show results, then frankly you should pay attention because the results speak for themselves. The results are objective. There's no chicanery there. If a scientist can show you results, pay attention because the results should serve to galvanize the interest of people.
Well, and what's really sad to me, because, all the kids today, if you ask them, they're just like, who invented electricity, blah, 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 and the light bulb. And, you hear everybody talking about Edison. You'll have some Westinghouses thrown in there. But anymore, I just don't hear kids even talking. You say Tesla, and again, we go back to Elon Musk, and you're like, well, no, because we didn't learn about that. And I'm like, yeah, there's a good reason for that, kids.
Yeah, very, very much so. After the Rockefellers understood what Tesla's game plan was to provide free energy to the world, the Rockefellers and the families of the Illuminati decided to conduct a smear campaign against Tesla. So back in Tesla's day, he was, if you will, smeared, undermined by the Rockefellers, because what Tesla had was a technology and energy that would have made obsolete many of the industries that the Rockefellers controlled. And the Rockefellers were not doing things for the benefit of mankind.
No.
The Rockefellers were doing things for their benefit, for their greedy aspirations. And I will say this without equivocation, scalar energy is a technology that will make obsolete so much of the existing technology today.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of stuff it's able to power, not just, our homes and the electricity, right, Tom?
Yeah, that's correct. It's so versatile. There's so many things you can do with it. Correct.
And what we know that Tom does is scalar light. Now, when we're talking about scalar energy, it's one thing, but what Tom has created has to do with scalar light, and it's very interesting. I think this is going to be a really eye-opening show for a lot of people.
And one of the good things, too, I like the forum that we're in for Tom, because, the average TFR listener, they're on to everything, that the government's doing, the Illuminati, if you want to put it that way, or how, the Bilderbergs or whatever, So, I mean, this definitely isn't a hostile audience, but I think that there's going to be, I think you always have a couple of the on the fence people, a little bit.
We like on the fence, though.
Yeah. You think you're going to be able to sway some of those that may be on that fence, Tom, today?
And that's why I refer to my work with results. Okay. Whether you believe me or not, you should look at the diagnostic tests that we will speak of. And those diagnostic tests are objective. Various clinics around the world have submitted diagnostic tests to us. Whether you pay attention to the evidence, to the science-backed evidence that we will present, that's the salient point.
This is going to be really good. So, I mean, you got started in this in your undergrad work. I mean, how on earth do you even get started on that? That's what I want to know.
Well, if I may be quite candid, you have to make this a career. This is not a hobby. And to retrace the footsteps of Tesla, you have to be very serious, and you have to spend the time. As a kid, I was a bookworm. We didn't have computers back in the 60s and 70s, so I was a bookworm. And my point is this: you have to devote yourself to this. Scalar energy is a science. It's an emerging science. And I don't care what science you might want to concentrate on, focus on. The greater the emphasis, the greater the attention that you have, the greater the prospect of results, of favorable results. So I've paid my dues over the past 35 years.
I can imagine that hasn't necessarily been an easy road for you either.
No. It's a lifelong endeavor. A lot of people approach me and they say, Tom, I'd like to get into this. And I encourage them. But, look what it takes to become, say, an accomplished chemist, chemical engineering. Oh, look what it takes to become an accomplished pianist.
Yeah.
It takes years of practice. This is not a hobby if you want to really excel at this.
Yeah, right. It's not like you're going to get into researching scalar light, scalar energy, and all of a sudden it's going to be like you're a YouTube wonder overnight. I mean, like you said, you're going to have to pay some dues here, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Well, we want to get the information out that is just so amazing. Guys, we also had put up on our website, we've got an affiliate page under Twin Flame Divine Fire, and we want you to go look at that because Tom's got some really, really cool things for you set up so that you can try this. And it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, go ahead and give a plug for that, Tom, because we only have about a minute and a half left or so, and we're going to have to bop into break.
Okay.
And we'll plug it throughout the rest of the show as well.
Okay, well, let me start with this. My main website is scalarlight.com. I'll spell that SCALAR, scalarlight.com. And if you visit that website, at the very top, you'll see a banner that says free trials in red. The purpose of that is to offer anybody in the world free sessions of Scalar Light. It will improve your health. And the reason we do that is quite apparent. We want to approach the world with free sessions so that people can see the merit of what we're doing.
Tom, of course, we realize that I almost forgot one of the things that I read, and I didn't know this yet until I got to reading it again today or yesterday. I can't remember which one it was, but he actually used this on an automobile, Scalar Light Energy, and got it up to 90 miles an hour.
Yes, that's correct.
Whoa, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Tesla, during his day, he retrofitted an existing model car known as a Pierce Arrow. And he placed in lieu of the combustion engine, some type of scalar energy engine. And it could, as you said, travel up to 90 miles per hour. And it was, there was no combustion, there was no smoke, there was no exhaust. So that was an indication that he was not using some type of gasoline powered engine.
Yeah.
And there was no noise. It was a completely silent function, which once again proves to the point that he was most likely using light energy. He was not using a combustion engine. Now imagine that. Tesla simply tapped into star power, scalar power, and he powered his car. He had a scalar energy powered vehicle. He did not need any type of combustion engine. So what does that mean in the future? It means a clean driving force. It means we can finally drive vehicles without pollution. And we have an infinite source of energy, star power, to power our cars. Well, extrapolate that. What does that mean? That means an end to the oil cartel. That means an end to pollution.
Yeah.
Pollution by way of auto emission. Well, had we listened to Tesla, we would not have an oil cartel today. If we would have listened to Tesla, we would not have carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide poisoning of our skies. But sadly, we're paying the price now for that ignorance. Hopefully, we'll start paying attention to the gift of scalar energy.
Yeah, hopefully so. Because they're able to come up with half gas, half or a combination hybrid electric gas cars. So it's just like, if you're smart enough to pull this off, I mean, you could have used scalar energy, but like you said, that'd be stepping on too many toes there in the pocketbook.
Right.
Yeah.